Hey, Magic fans, welcome back. This is your captain speaking here on Capnclydes MTG. Today, we're going to look at some interesting cards for Commander coming right out of the bloomburrow set, hot off the presses, and ready for your local gaming club to all you shenanigans and tell you not to bring that shit to the table. Anyway, with everything said, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It'll keep us sponsor free. Links in the description. Get to 1,000 peeps. It's giveaway time. Gen Con's coming up. So, hey, buckle up, Buttercup. It's about to get the game on. So, let's start with our Commander cards for bloomburrow. Our first card to play in Commander is the Dragonhawk Fate's Tempest. 2 red and 3 colorless for this 5/5 flyer. Decent rate. Whenever the Dragonhawk enters or attacks, exile top X cards in your library, where X is the number of creatures you control, power of 4 or greater. You may play those cards until your next end step. At the beginning of your next end step, Dragonhawk deals 2 damage to each opponent for each of those cards that you have still exiled. So, why is this a good card for Commander, especially when it's monocolor? First off, it's a bird. But the big deal, it's a dragon bird. So this is a dragon for all your dragon decks. Also, for those heathens out there who like to play Dragonstorm and throw a bunch of dragons on the battlefield, imagine one of those dragons being this thing. Those dragons don't need to have haste. If you Dragonstorm, and this is a dragon you throw onto the board when you Dragonstorm or whatever the dragon combo is that you're doing, and you've got, let's say, 4 things that are already 4 or greater power on the board, you're going to, when it enters, exile 5 cards. It counts itself. And if you don't cast those cards, which since you've used all your mana, you probably won't, you're still going to do 10 damage to every player at the table. Which, to be honest with you, better freaking kill them, because if not, they're coming for you. But played properly in a Dragonstorm creature combo deck where you just throw stuff on the battlefield, this can get out of hand quick. Because also, your stuff has haste. Like the dragons that give haste or anything else that gives haste. Not only does it trigger when it comes in, it also triggers when you attack. And since it exile cards, if you manage to exile your whole deck, fear not, it's not a draw ability, so you don't die from not being able to draw. You just exile your whole deck and then proceed to watch all your opponents die. As long as they don't Teferi's Protection. Stay thirsty, friends. Anyway, so that's one of the big things about this card. It is a dragon. It is a bird. Great card for your dragon decks. Plus, it looks smoking hot. I mean, how could you not like this art? It should be in any dragon deck. It deserves it. So, moving on, next we have in at number 4, Kitsa the Otterball Elite. Why is this in here? Well, with 100-card decks, nothing is better than to be able to draw and discard cards. Plus, it has prowess, vigilance. It can get in for a few damage. It has 1/3. It blocks well. And more likely than not, with shenanigans that will pop off in Commander, you will get this power above 3 or greater. All it takes is 2 spells that are non-creature to trigger the prowess twice, and then 2 mana, tap this, target instant or sorcery spell you control. Time to start time walking. You know what I'm talking about. So, I think this is going to have a real big effect for a lot of reasons. Also, let's not get this wrong. You can also pump up the jam on this, doing some prowess shenanigans, and double copy a couple counter spells in case you need to counter more than one thing at a time. Might say, why would I do that? Reasons vary. But as you know, in Commander, a lot of 6-mana counter spells that do things like copy tokens, bounce a card, counter a spell, counter a triggered ability, and counter a spell, and all those other shenanigans. Copying that because you cast it for free or whatever shenanigans you're pulling for 2 more mana and getting all that again is insanely powerful. Also, let's not forget, if you need to catch up in Commander and need to do a board wrath or a wipe in general, if you cast this to copy the instant sorcery spell and you cast it, they have to counter twice. And they may do that, but hey, For 2 extra mana, get an extra card out of their hand. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So, coming in next at number 3 for Commander, Heaped Harvest. This bad boy is a green and 2. It lets you search for a library for a basic land card, which is sweet. And you may be thinking to yourself, there's better ways to search for lands. Kind of right. But this also doubles as a food. Sacrifice it to gain 3 life. And when you sacrifice this card, you also get to go again and search for a basic land and put it into play tapped. Which is amazing, because not only can you do it for 3 to mana ramp, but later in the game, say you're playing black-green for God knows what reason. Magic Mirror, 4 mana, it says sacrifice a token, an artifact, or yada yada. You can sacrifice this. So for 4 mana, you sack this, get a land, put it into play untapped, then get a card 4 or less from your deck, cast it for free. There's tons of ways to manipulate this, where you don't have to spend the 2 mana to get your 3 life and go get your land, although that might be the most fast and effective way if you need it. But there are plenty of ways to sacrifice this to trigger other abilities and still get to search for land. All right, next, coming in at number 2 for Commander, the infamous Cruel Claw. We talked about this in the Modern. I think this is really going to shine in Commander. Again, black, red, and 1 for a 3/3 with Menace. It is legendary. It can be your commander. It's in some decent colors as black, red. And again, the ability to flip the top card, discard a card, and cast it for free can be huge. In a deck full of shenanigans. It's also a good addition to any deck playing black, red. As a 3/3 menace creature, its ability to hit the opponent and let you play cards from the top of your deck is absurd. You can't get land, but you can get non-land. So if you don't need land, this is a guaranteed action hit. Later in the game, when you've got extra mana, you're definitely going to be able to use it. Doesn't matter. A lot going on. It's just absurd how good this could be in Commander, and I really think it's going to shine. I don't think it's going to be as powerful as some of the other commanders we've seen, but this is easily a tier 2, 2.5 style commander, and it will be lots of fun. So, I mean, heck, it might go in the new Grenzo deck. It's already black, red, full of heist. So, there's that. So, finally, we're going to wrap it up. Coming in at number 1, one of the new most powerful commanders, in my opinion, is Helga the Skittish Seer. Not a lot of people are talking about this card, and I understand why. But at the same time, the potential here is huge. Blue, white, green. 3 good, powerful colors. You get counter spells, you get white for removal, you get green for ramp. This thing is a 1/3. It can be your commander. So it comes out on turn 3, 5, so forth, and so on. Whenever you cast a creature spell with mana value 4 or greater, you get to draw a card, gain a life, and put a counter on this bad boy. That's already getting you a lot. Also, in blue and white, especially green, you can have Protect the Queen strategies going on, so this thing doesn't die. It also taps for mana, and it's one of the best mana dorks you're going to get. Add X mana of any one color, where X is this Seer's power. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells with mana value 4 or greater, or creature spells with X in their mana cost. Yes, this is only for creatures. However, you get this going with some kind of engine that lets you untap your permanents. You can tap and untap and tap and untap. This could be huge, because you could spend your rocks, your mana rocks, to cast spells that aren't creatures, keep untapping and tapping this thing and making it huge. Then all that extra mana, play the biggest Hydra you have ever seen. I know you guys out there like playing them Hydra decks. This here might be your boy in those Hydra decks. Yeah, it's blue, green, white. You don't have to play white and blue cards in a mono green Hydra deck. But if you want some X spell creatures, you want some Hydras. This frog with +1/+1 counters and everything else it's got going on could be insane as your commander. So, All that said, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, be kind. And as always, I hope to see you across from the game table.